The small ball had the ability to replicate anything in the world. God threw it into the human world. When it hit the ground, it bumped into a stone, and instantly, it took the shape of the stone. After a long time, one day, a wounded white wolf died in front of it. The next moment, the ball replicated the wolf's form. Although it gained consciousness, it was still unsteady on its feet. It continued walking, and soon it found itself in front of a house. The nameless young man inside was overjoyed to see the white wolf. He was the owner of the deceased wolf. He was so happy to have the wolf back, so he took it home. The wolf was curious about everything in the house. The room was warm, something the wolf hadn't felt for a long time. To celebrate the wolf's return, the young man took out a salted fish, a piece of food he had been saving for many years. After the wolf ate, the fire in the fireplace was almost gone, and they had to sleep before the temperature dropped too much. To keep the wolf from running away again, the young man tied himself to the wolf when he went to sleep. The next day, the young man took the wolf to a neighbor's abandoned house to collect wood. The wolf noticed that aside from the young man and itself, there was no one else around. It turned out that due to a food shortage, everyone had moved away 5 years ago. They said they had gone to a place like paradise where there was an endless supply of food. Only the nameless young man stayed behind to care for the elderly and those unable to move. But a year ago, the elderly passed away, leaving the young man alone. Suddenly, a wind chime rang, and the young man thought someone had returned. He quickly took the wolf home, but when he opened the door, the house was empty. The wind chimes rang again, and the young man realized a large fish had been caught. Now, they were ready for dinner. That evening, the young man gave the fish head to the wolf. The wolf sniffed it, feeling unfamiliar with the food. The young man slowly taught the wolf to mimic his actions and eat the fish. After dinner, the young man drew pictures of his family on the wall. He had been lonely for a long time. He thought that maybe he shouldn't stay here anymore. Finally, the young man made up his mind to go to the paradise. Early the next morning, he packed his bags and said goodbye to the place he once lived. He walked for a long time before seeing a stone with an arrow pointing ahead. He felt that it was a sign, guiding him toward paradise, and he was happy. The young man followed the direction of the arrow and reached a place with thin ice. He accidentally slipped and fell through the ice, soaking his leg in blood. He smiled and bandaged the wound, thinking it was just a small injury. The next day, the young man continued his journey, but his body grew weaker. Still, he held on to hope, believing that the road ahead led to paradise. When he reached the final bloodstained arrow, he suddenly realized it was a dead end. Nearby, he found the remains of a horse-drawn cart, which confirmed his realization. Despair hit him, and he had no choice but to turn back. Having missed the best time for treatment, the young man grew weaker. His wound continued to bleed, and death was drawing near. In his final moments, the young man sat in a chair, hoping that when his family entered the door, they would see him first. The wolf stood motionless, staring at the young man, not understanding what had happened or what life and death meant. The young man's lifeless body collapsed to the floor, and the wolf tried to lift him up. But as the wolf touched the young man's body, it transformed into the young man's likeness. After opening the door, the wolf gave one last look at the young man and stepped forward, walking resolutely toward the unknown. The young man's unfinished journey would now continue through the wolf,